Both sides of the political divide need to remember how to take jokes. I'm referring to the recent Donald Trump tweet about him and his past professional wrestling attack on Vince McMahon, moving Vince's head and putting CNN there, and more of the liberal elements of the plays that had the mock assassination of the president. It's easy for us to be up in arms when our favourite politician or people on our political side are being ridiculed and what's going on, this can't be right. But wait a minute, I'm going to make fun of the other side and that's fine because I'm in the right and they're in the wrong. Well, we don't actually know that. No one really knows how right we are on things. We have inclinations and some things we're pretty sure, but our ideas of what's right and what's wrong develops all the time. We don't particularly know. With the spirit of humility, take a joke everyone, both sides should be parodied. They should be made fun of, should be mocked, and they should be allowed to mock each other. Without everybody saying, that's awful, that's inciting hatred, that means you do that, that means terrorism's going to happen on the left or the right, or from religious people, or from communists, or from whatever it might be. This is ridiculous. Both sides should be allowed to lampoon the other side. Trouble with saying things like Trump's tweet was inciting violence on reporters, as CNN have said, is that violence comes from all kinds of angles, is triggered by all kinds of things, some video games, some music videos, some religions, some anti-religions. It comes from all kinds of directions. I have my own personal views on what is more likely to be promoting violence, but again that's an opinion. We don't particularly know, apart from a directionless upbringing where you're heavily exposed to violence at a young age. It's probably going to lead to some violence down the line, backed up with some violent rhetoric. That sort of thing would make sense. It's certainly not, I've got to this age, oh, Trump is now beating up a fake CNN head. I better now go up and go about my day and beat up some journalists whenever I see them. Or, there's a play here assassinating a president. I know, I'll now go kill a president. I'm not quite sure it happens like that. To be fair, some of these things can be the extra tipping point. Somebody can just be on the precipice of doing something awful, and it just takes a little bit more to properly radicalise them. Trouble with that is, that really can come from anything. If you're already on the edge of the cliff, it just takes a bit of a gust of wind to throw you over the edge. There really can be anything. And it's not fair to blame that last bit of wind that propelled you off the edge into the abyss. We have to know what actually got you onto the edge of the cliff in the first place. You know, who put you in the car, who drove you there, who walked you up those steps, who put you on the edge of the cliff, not the last gust of wind that blew you off. Sometimes being very peaceful, having sit-ins, being an amazing Beatle, promoting peace most of your life, not being a perfect person, but ultimately promoting peace and giving so much endless joy to people, John Lennon, can result in you being violently murdered. Let's not take the debate of different opinions and jokes down to the level of saying, you do this, you're inciting death and hatred. Doesn't seem fair to me. The other side of that though is that doesn't give you completely free rein to just say whatever you want on a consistent basis, and for me that's what matters, the consistent basis. We can say all kinds of things. I'm sure even you've said, oh, I wish someone would die, oh, I want to punch them in the face. Does that actually mean you want to do it? No. If you're saying it every day, if you're thinking of actually how you would do that, if you're being graphic, if you're maybe telling the object of your hatred what you would do, can you see how there's a difference there? Context, again, will always matter. If you're consistently doing something, if you are properly trying to incite hatred, you are bullying, you are moving something on from maybe a knee-jerk reaction or a moment of analysis or some passion or your blood's up, as we all do, especially of the male testosterone-fueled variety of us. But it's the consistency for me that pushes it over into hate speech, hate actions, inciting violence of all kinds. Where you exactly draw the line, that is extremely hard to know. But I would say if you are consistently on the path of trying to radicalise, not just having a consistent viewpoint, but if, for example, Trump now every day puts out more and more violent things, even if they just seem to be from wrestling or some play fighting thing, if he were to consistently do that, you would think, okay, we had the jokes before, that's fine, we're overdoing things now, aren't we? We're getting to the point where we are trying to brainwash because, again, why is consistently doing the same thing going to matter? Because again, that's the journey to the cliff. That's endlessly doing it. That's every aspect. It's not just the final push. You are consistently ramping up all the reasons as to why you should then go off the edge of the cliff. Education, brainwashing. It doesn't just happen in a day. No matter how good your argument is, it's very unlikely that you're going to be fully brainwashing someone, no matter how smart or stupid they might be, with just a 10-minute conversation. It can happen. We can get some people and they just have an amazing spark of inspiration and they come up with amazing things or they do awful things. That's generally quite unpredictable though. It's unlikely that someone automatically is just going to say something and you're going to be a murderer or a genius. So, if we can criticise each other without consistently looking to bully each other, I would say that's a mark of a good society. Society is actually doing quite well if you can have a go at the opposition. Sensitive subject for some, but how much more can we have a go at Christians than we can Muslims now? See the divide there? Again, I understand to a degree. It's because people have been held down and the cultures are so different that we need, as we have done for several decades now, to have positive discrimination, to overly integrate and really lay out the red carpet. But how long do you do that for? People will endlessly criticise Christians, Christianity, the church, make fun of Jesus. If they do anything to do with another religion, it doesn't quite work the same. I think the trouble with that, therefore, would be that we're not going to get along quite in the same way that friends do, or even frenemies. Even CNN and Trump have a healthy dislike for each other, and that they can have a go at each other. Knowing that they're not going to be violently attacking each other. They're not going to, as much as the play and the CNN bashing seem violent, they're not actually saying to do that against each other. If the more we can criticise each other and have debate, and yeah, it'll get rough at times, but I think that's actually a sign that we're doing quite well as a society. It's when you can't say things. When you are saying that if you say this, violence will automatically happen, as we have seen, that doesn't seem like the healthiest of societies to me. Jokes and humour is all a part of societal bonding, and the societal bonding is not all about agreeing with each other. We need to disagree to have some greater good, some improvements. And quite frankly, it's not as dull as just complimenting the hell out of each other. That's my opinion. We don't want to consistently have a go at people on a particular line. Again, very hard to properly quantify, to properly understand. I get that there might be some understanding out there in science. We are not yet there in our understanding of it. But I think there's a general common sense as to when we're going too far with what we're saying in our actions. But that we need to have the freedom to criticise, to make fun of. It is actually a good sign for society that society is doing something right. When we can make fun of each other, very harshly at times. Some people go too far and they just aimlessly, pointlessly, unwittily troll, which any low life could do. That is not actually adding anything. But again, if you want to do that, fine. If you're consistently trolling and it gets personal, then you're going too far outside the bounds of freedom of speech, I would say. But ultimately, we need to be able to joke. We need to stop saying that you're automatically inciting violence. What do? Do we ban WWE? Come on. How far does this go? That we can't say things, that we just have to compliment each other. Because if you get to the point where all you're doing is complimenting each other, boy do you dumb things down. The chance of inventions, innovations, improving in anything goes way down. We need to be able to criticise. And not just because it's fun, and that's where you get a lot of your good quality comedy from, but that's where we actually get our advancements from. We need to be able to mix it up and disagree and put all our ideas against each other. So take a joke, everyone. Those people who you disagree with, saying stuff against you and you saying against them, try to not be too much of a hypocrite. I get it, it hits you when they're having a go at the people you like and the politics you're a fan of. I get that. But ultimately, you're going to be having to go back. Appreciate we're all having to go at each other. I think it's actually quite healthy most of the time when we do have a go at each other.